Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
So guys, number one, welcome. Everybody, it's back to Breaking Barriers. I'm really excited. I'm at Klein's today. I have Tod with me, as well as Jacqueline. Thank you guys so much for being here. What I'm super excited about is the history, right? So Breaking Barriers is a show that's really business oriented. It's about entrepreneurship. It's about legacy. It's about breaking through, right? And who better than Klein's, who's been the number one of 3 generations?
Right. We're on the fourth now.
We're on the fourth generation, right? So that's so insane. For people out there who are watching and where's Klein's? What is Klein's? Do you mind kind of sharing that?
Yeah, basically, we're located in Belmar on the Shark River. Mm-hmm. We started in 1929 as a fish market,
right? And
we kind of evolved into a full-service restaurant,
right?
Over the years,
right?
So we're still here doing our thing.
Do you ever have people dock up?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have dock and dine. Obviously, we'll get some B-roll before we leave. So tell me about the lineage, Jacqueline. So what?
I started with my great-grandfather, Ollie Klein, and he passed away in 1970. And then my grandfather, Ollie Klein.
Right. Quick question. So was he a fisherman? What made the fish market a thing? Was it because they like fishing, or was it just they were into food?
No, I think he fought in. I think he was in World War I, and then he came out and he used to wholesale fish out of a truck.
Got it.
And then
bad. It's even more badass.
Yeah. And then he needed a place to sell it.
Right.
So instead of he used to drive through Bradley, all around here, and then he bought this property in 29.
Okay.
And would do retail and wholesale.
Right.
So he used to sell. I guess there was a lot of hotels and stuff in Belmar in the area. So he would wholesale to Belmar, Spring Lake, Avon. And then he built the retail, clientele as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, for people that are also watching, if somebody comes to Klein's, what's a staple that you got to get, or it's whether it's a drink or a food item?
I'd say the fried flounder sandwich. Right, or the clam bake.
Yeah, anything with the fried flounder sandwich is what basically kind of started everything. That was one of the only things we ever had when we started.
Right.
And it's whenever we can get it, it's always locally caught flounder.
All here at the local.
Yeah,
sure.
We still buy out of the Point Pleasant Co-op.
Oh, that's so cool.
Old Ollie was buying since the 20s.
Wow.
So we get
that's been around since then.
Yeah, he would drive the truck down there, bring the fish back.
Wow.
And we had a lot of boats back here.
So now I want to ask you guys. So do you ever feel there's a lot of people who wind up continuing family legacy businesses, right? And it's so motivating to me. I'm having my first son, as I mentioned before we started recording, and now here you guys are 4 generations in. Is there an enormous amount of pressure that you guys feel in terms of keeping the business to succeed or innovate for it? What does that feel like being somebody who's had, you guys are succeeding people that were before you? What's the pressure look like for that?
We want to do a good job. You're always, it's family. It's not just
work.
It's not you can go home at 5 o'clock and it's done.
Right.
We're constantly.
Yes,
constantly.
Business owners don't shut off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I think, you don't want to let the previous generation down. So they built the business, and you always want to, you want to do well, and you want to be successful, but you need to adapt too as the times change, so you can be, So I think that's kind of where
because
we're at.
I don't know what that's like, but I have a lot of friends or family, and people who have been involved in what you guys are doing now, carrying the legacy and the business forward. And I know that, again, the people before you, right? They did such a good job getting you here. And the most wildest part, I heard this on a podcast recently where somebody said, in order for us to be here, we have to have almost over 3,000 people. Our ancestors have to exist for us to even be at where we are today, right? So even thinking about even the previous Ollies, right? It's imagine the sacrifices that their people before them and their ancestors before them had to make to even get to this country and to do what they're doing. And it's so wild,
And to succeed.
And to keep going,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
How many people, and what's so awesome, right? I always get the goosebumps thinking about this, because it's most businesses fail in the first 3 years, maybe 2 years from they start. I can't even imagine in 20. You're saying 29 so casually, but it's like 1929.
Yeah.
He's like in 29, but it's like 1929. You guys are still here. Like, it's so remarkable,
It's not easy. It's not like, it's hard work, and you have to change. Something might work, might have worked 5 years ago. It's not going to work today. So you just have to keep changing.
So one of the questions that we got, right? So we had people ask us questions in advance. I'm assuming some of the people are customers here, right? But so we got some questions. So now, being obviously involved in a family business, right? How is it for you guys at least, right? In terms of family, drawing the line of like if there's things going wrong, or leaving things at the door, or if you guys are at like a family party. Like how
like Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah. So how do you guys navigate those waters?
It's funny because the way it always used to be, like Jacqueline's dad Ollie was the boss.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that was just
right.
There was
final.
Yeah. It was his say, and there was no
ifs and buts about it.
Yeah.
But kind of as he's gotten older and kind of wants to get out, but I don't think he's ever really going to leave.
That's what he says.
He's kind of stepped back and he gave us a lot more control. And I feel like we work better collectively.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do something without telling her. So
and I would never do anything without telling him.
Yeah.
And my sister as well. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we have an idea, we're going to bounce it off each other.
Right.
And like her husband and then her sister Elizabeth's husband, they're really smart guys. They're savvy guys. So they have a different way of looking at it too.
And
so it's good.
Outside, like they can looking in where we're here
You're
every
stuck
day.
In the weeds.
Yes. It's sometimes good to have a perspective that they're not here every day.
A fresh opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, like we were saying before, like we were kind of already starting to change things before COVID happened, and they were like a big part of it. So and I think we kind of found something that works now.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
That is cool. And so me and my wife. So my wife is my CFO. And it didn't start that way, right? Like we got married. She was working at iHeartRadio, and then eventually we're like, okay, the business is really growing, so we need to start, let's get you out of there. Let's have you focus on us. And I always get asked that question. And the funny part though is because with family businesses, you are really obviously you care about the business, you care about the success of it, your team, stuff like that. Sometimes it gets a little challenging, right? And so arguments can happen or things. How do you guys navigate, like if you guys are like at a stalemate where, you want something and maybe you don't want something? How do you guys navigate those waters? No pun intended because we're on the water.
We never, we're family first.
Good.
And I respect Tod,
right.
His opinion. He's smart. He's been working here longer than I have.
Right.
So I don't, if you respect someone, there's a way to go around and say, well, I kind of think in this way. You know what I mean? And then
just
you work through it.
Yeah,
you're not going to say that was a dumb idea, or something like
nothing. What the fuck?
I would never. No. Yeah. So I think that's how you just have to bounce it off of each other. And
we haven't really had any.
There's
definitely been a few little disagreements about some things, but nothing to the point where we were screaming at each other, throwing stuff So I feel like because we've worked together so long.
That's true, yeah.
We kind of know everybody's nuances, you know what I mean? So it's like, you kind of know the boundaries.
Yeah. You walk away and then you can meet and talk about it later. Right. Because we all, common goal, we just want to succeed and this is our livelihood. So.
You're climbing the same mountain.
Yes, exactly.
So
we want everyone to reach that together.
Right. So what piece of advice would you give somebody who is, if somebody's like, oh, I'm thinking of starting a business with my family, what would be the Klein rule book?
Run.
Oh man! I mean, do you really know your family? Because when you start dealing with money and stuff like that, it's different.
It's very because people change when money comes out. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a big thing.
Have it written down.
Everything has to be on paper.
Yes.
Sorry. So rule 1 from the Jackie handbook: have it on paper. What do we got, Tod?
Yeah, and you kind of need to know everybody's role too. That's you have to kind of have defined
who's doing what,
and stuff like that. You just can't come into it and. I wouldn't want to try to figure it out as I go. I kind of want to see what you're good at, what you're good at,
strengths
what
are,
I can do, and kind of blend it together.
Yeah, it's smart. So actually, funny enough, you guys ever see the show Survivor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So me and my wife, we started watching the first one ever from the late '90s, and so we're watching it, and this whole dynamic you were talking about was in it, where they got to the island, and everyone's just like, all right, I'm gonna go do this, and everyone's like, wait. No, what is your role? What is my role? And I think in a business that's so important, nonetheless with family, so that there's no crossover. Because if more than one people are doing something, it means nobody has responsibility over it, right? Because you can just point at each other,
exactly.
you're doing that, whatever. So that's great advice. And where do you guys see like the next step going, right? So like, what is the next? So you know what's funny? So with industries and businesses like this, it's like, you know, like for me, like Adapting Social, like we've been around we're going to be on our 13th year.
Oh, wow.
And so you know, for us, we're like planning. We're talking about like 3-5 years out. But for a company that's been around as long as you guys, it seems so minuscule, right? To be like, 3 years from now, you're like, I'm not even concerned about the next 3 years. Like what's the next? Let's call it 10 years, maybe, right? What's the next 10 years look like?
10 years. So how old? I'll be 50, and you'll be almost
60.
60.
So I'll still be working.
Yeah.
I'll be here. I got 3 kids. I got to go to college. So
Yeah, right.
I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. As far as my kids, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
They don't seem. I have 17, a 15-year-old, and a 6-year-old. 17-year-old, no way.
Right.
The 15-year-old, I don't think so. 6-year-old, I have no idea. It's too young, obviously.
And how did you get attracted to this?
Oh, I worked here. I've been working here since 1988.
Right.
So I always, to be honest with you, I mean, I went to college, but I always worked here.
Right.
So, and I don't know, I was never cut out to sit in an office.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, there was always something about this that appealed to me. I like being close to the water. I like being outdoors.
Might as well be on it.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
But did you get like a kick in the ass from like your dad or somebody like, Todd, you're going to work there this summer?
No,
or
I
was
wanted
more like
to work.
You wanted to get it?
Yeah, I wanted to work. I liked it. So I mean, I started as a kid like cutting fish. I did that for years, and then went to college, came out, started working here full time,
right,
and just kind of
You get sucked. I
got sucked in, and then just kind of moved up. And
it's like in the Godfather, just when I don't know, Sopranos, just when I think I'm out,
Yeah.
it pulls me back in.
Yeah. You get the call.
So how about for you? So what does it look like for you and like maybe your kids? Like, do you see?
I have an older daughter that's 22. She just graduated college. She's living in Hoboken doing that whole thing. So who knows?
Right.
And then my little one, she's 8. So you never know.
Right. You never know what happens in the future.
Yeah.
So, but how about, and for you, so you see yourself being here as long as possible. How about yourself? Like, and also I want to know from the both of you, just like visionary wise, like, are you guys going to just keep buying things next door? Or next thing you know, it's going to be
more.
I think we realize we don't want to be so big like we used to be.
Small is better.
So, and again, I think we talked about that during COVID. And one thing I want to just say for everyone listening out there is we, business owners, we all learned a ton during COVID about cutting out fat or things that we don't want. I mean, I think you talked about reverting back to a menu from the 90s or something. Simplicity is key, right? As you grow a business, and you know what works and what makes things in life easier, it's better off that way.
Small is better. You got to be consistent.
Right.
You got to take care of your health.
Right.
That's the biggest thing
to
me. And your customers, obviously. You got to take care of them.
Of course.
Yeah.
We've had employees here for years too.
Right. What's wild? So wait, how long have you been working here for?
Since I was 10.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, okay.
We didn't have a liquor license then, so I would come with my dad and I would wait tables, and I did all that. And then college, I went local to Monmouth.
Okay.
I got my social work degree, was doing that for a little bit, and then I got the call to come back.
Get over here.
Yeah. So,
Fun fact. So my first job ever was at Monmouth.
Oh.
So my friend, my best friend, his mom at the time, Airmark was like the food vendor in the dining hall. Yeah. And so I think I was like 13 or 14 or whatever. And she's like, oh, the baseball camp has, the kids come in and stuff. So like, if you want to scoop ice cream, come scoop ice cream. Wow. I was like, all right, no problem. So I went with my buddy. And the next thing you know, I think we were there for like a year maybe or 2 years. Then I upgraded to the sandwich guy.
I was moving up
in the dining hall, like during the summer. So I was like the sandwich guy at Monmouth. And everyone used to joke around, he used to call me Johnny Sandwich. So everybody come over, like, what do you want? A Johnny Sandwich? Come here. So I started cutting up the sandwich. But Mom's good school.
Yeah.
So you were super local, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. So so in terms of, do you guys see the future of Klein's being any different in terms of food offerings or, anything like that?
To be honest with you, in my opinion, it's going to stay pretty much the way it is. I feel like we've experimented here a lot and done a lot of stuff.
Of course. I mean,
it's been a long time, yeah.
But if you look at what you sell, it's the same stuff the stuff people buy is the stuff we've been selling here forever.
Right.
And so to me, as long as you keep it consistent and you have a good product, why mess with something that obviously works?
Right.
I'm not saying like you're going to have to change, but
the core items.
The core items.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't want to make it bigger or to make the menu bigger or add a lot of stuff.
Would you guys be able to actually, like, I was just thinking about this. If you ever wanted to expand outdoor, could you put like a deck over this? If you wanted to?
I've been talking about that.
Yeah. Because I'm like, wait, technically you could put all these seats, but just above.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I bet.
I would love to put a just
we
above
won
this.
the lottery last week or whatever that was.
Could you imagine someone won? Wasn't it $2 billion?
Yes.
Someone won. One person won.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. So this is where we get. And actually, Rob, I want to have you just go live on AS stuff. So now we're about to get to the final two questions. These questions are not easy. So you guys have to assign yourselves. I'll let you guys pick. So there's one that's really hard, and there's one that's like a mild. So I'll let you guys pick who's doing what.
Did you want me to do the really hard one? Okay.
He's a wiser one.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna. I'll wait till you start. Let me know when you're good.
He's probably like, I'm joking. You have the hard one.
Maybe I'll switch it up. Now.
I don't know.
No, I'm kidding. But all right. So one of the things. So we'll start. So we'll start with the easy one.
Okay.
Since we'll let you think for a second. We'll put them on ice. All right. So has there been over the years, right? Obviously in business, there's so many things that happen. Team, you have to really triumph past. Again, the COVID happened, right? So has there ever been an adage, and it could be a Jackie original, right? Or an Al original or an Ali original. Like, has there been any sort of adage or quote for you that when you think about when it comes to hard times and triumphing past them?
What I've learned from here is work ethic. I mean, my grandmother was the cashier here till like the week before she died. Like she worked here.
No kidding.
Yes. And she like come to work. I have to come. Like I just what I've learned from here. I mean, it's the knowledge and just. I mean, a quote though. I don't know.
So let's format it into a Jackie original.
Okay. Let's see how we're gonna do this. A quote.
So it's work ethic related.
Yes.
For me, I almost think about. So I'll give you some time to think about that. Well, so the reason why I like to ask this question. So when I started my agency, I was 17 years old.
Okay.
And so I was young, and I didn't have any mentors. Like my parents weren't entrepreneurs by any means. So one of the things that I did was I was like, all right, I want to find a quote, right? As silly as that sounds, that'll help me. Like just like when I wake up. So I put it like literally when I woke up, I had it taped to my ceiling. So when I woke up, I saw it, and then next to my my sink in my bathroom. So when I was brushing my teeth, I always saw it, and it read, "Live a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't." Right? So I liked it, and I vibed with it because it made me understand that times are not supposed to be easy, especially in the beginning, right? And you're going to go through seasons that things are not easy, but as long as you keep and hang in there and keep doing your best, like you'll triumph from it, right? So anyway, so that quote, and that to this day, like my wife, it's in my closet now, and my wife put it there when we moved. She found it and put it back up there. And we have it in our offices too. So
I don't know.
I know. Most important. I mean, here too. Like, it's families first, and then the business is second.
Right.
I mean,
I like that. It could be a quote: "Family first, business second."
Yeah.
For businesses that operate as a family.
Yes.
Did you want to touch on that? I thought you were going to say something.
No, mine would have just been you just got to push on through.
Push on, keep pushing.
That's it. No matter what, you can't stop.
Right.
And if you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, but you can't like stop what you're doing. And it's going to affect you, but you need to, like, sounds cliche, but like keep your eye on the prize,
right?
Because you know what's at stake,
right?
So you can't. There is no, I don't want to do it. You have to do it,
right?
It's just the way. That's the way I look at it. It's
totally.
Like,
I love that.
Yeah,
and both
keep pushing. Yeah.
What I love that you said though, and I think everybody needs to really get that, is that like I feel like nothing should be beneath anybody, right?
Oh,
and one of the things I love that you said, your grandmother was here until like the last day. She at the cash register, like, did she probably have to be here? Probably not, but like she wants to keep busy. She wants to work. That's how you learn, from hard work, right? And I love that.
People recognized her. They loved her. She was and working with her.
She like a staple here.
Sure.
Like, what was her name?
Mary.
Mary.
Yeah, she was just a lovely person, but she knew what was going on. She'd be like, "Hey, look at this server. They're not doing that." Like she from her little cash register area, she knew everything that was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And her drawer was always to the penny.
Oh.
And if she missed the money, she'd be like, "Well, here's like a quarter."
She would put the quarter or the 10 cents.
We don't need the quarter.
She's like, "No," and she'd put it back in.
Take it out of the purse.
Yes,
put it in.
and put it back in.
You can't. Those are things you can't teach and you can't learn in school. Like those are just you learn that in the field and just by working your butt off, right? And so for you, all right, so now you're in the hot seat. Boom, 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 lights on. Okay. So I like to think, and this is the best place ever to do this. So I'm actually really excited that we're here at Klein's. This is obviously, been in your family since 29, right? Well, Pat say 29, but so legacy is such a big thing, right? And I think for me, in my world, I look at legacy as something that is so important, and I think I like to reverse engineer it, right? So that's where this whole this is not a question, it's an exercise, right? So this is not even a question, it's more of an exercise. So, most people think about legacy from where your feet are today to where, who you eventually want to become and what people remember you by, right? Sure. So the one thing that will supersede you, your kids, all of that, right, is your gravestone, right?
Yeah.
If you were to write that today, right?
Oh, Jesus.
In general tones, right? So not obviously specific. What would that be?
My gravestone?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to think people would say I always treated everyone, well. I was fair. And I always did my best, really.
So like loving father.
Yeah, exactly.
Treated people fairly and well.
Yeah.
That's all true.
Yeah,
that's all true. No, it is.
And that's cool though, and I think that says a lot, because a lot of times when you look at those things, you always think, and that's why I like to ask that question, because when you look at those gravestones, you're like, typically, they all say the same thing, right? It was a loving mother, it was a loving father, whatever. So, again, but treating people fairly and obviously being, in a business owner perspective, like obviously you have a team, you have people for years, you have family, you have to coordinate everything. So that's awesome. So you didn't do as bad as maybe most people did.
That's a tough one.
It is. We had multiple people on this podcast. I started asking this question like a year ago, and we've had like 3 people actually cry. Thinking about like their kids and because they went deep into it. Like some people are really deep into it. And it was like wow, legacy, okay. But that was really awesome. The one thing I did want to mention, so obviously Klein's, which I'm super excited about for anybody who's watching this, is actually open season round now. It's not just seasonal anymore. Now it's all year round. What are the hours? What are the new hours during for winter?
We're closed Mondays and Tuesdays, open Wednesday through Sunday for lunch and dinner, and our retail fish market is open 9 to 7, right? 9 to 7.
Yes.
Yes, and our website, if you just head over to kleinsfish.com for all of it.
If you need anything.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, guys, thank you so much. I think time is the one asset we don't get back.
Yeah.
So you spending it with us here today and dropping some golden nuggets on our podcast for our listeners is amazing. I really appreciate you. And just so people, again, it's where you kind of plug yourself. Where can they find you? Like, what's the website address, Instagram, all that good stuff, where they can find you and engage with you guys?
Kleinsfish.com, and then that's the same for our Instagram.
Yep, Klein's Fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
708 River Road, Belmar. We've been here since 1929.
It's an amazing spot, and everybody listening in, go give them a follow, check them out. Family business, amazing food. I can say that. My wife loves it. She's jealous I'm here right now. She's super pregnant. And again, thank you guys so much for doing this. Really appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Awesome.
Yeah.